I'm okay for now. Thank you.
Coach, you guys have a tough task regarding Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. What do you tell your guys after a performance like this, and especially trying to figure out how to minimize their success inside and on outside?
I mean, you got to make it tough, and I thought we did that. I thought both of them hit, some really difficult shots. They went into ISO and took, mid-range, turnaround, contested twos that our guys challenged them on. So they make those because they're elite offensive players, but I thought they were tough ones, and we just got to continue to make them tough.
You guys also prioritize a three-point shot for you guys yourself this series, but today you guys kind of struggled getting into the paint and finishing at the rim. What is the conversation again with them after that, but trying to figure out how to just finish through contact?
I mean, you got to keep attacking, and you got to attack, through the physicality and expect it, right? You're going to get bumped. We're not getting those whistles. So we just got to be aggressive, not play for the foul, and go for the finish.
Jason,
you went really, really small at the end of the third, start of the fourth. What did you think of that?
I thought it was good. I thought it gave us space. It gave a lot of shooting out there. I think we were struggling to score offensively. So I thought we just needed some space and try to put as much shooting out there as we could. I thought it gave us a nice little boost, but I thought it, it ran out of steam a little bit.
How many? Obviously, you guys shoot threes in the series, but where's the line? How many threes are too many? Is there a number that you like?
I mean, no, because every game is a different possession game, right? The amount of possessions in the game are different. We're just trying to create open shots, right? And if we get open threes, our guys got to take them and they got to shoot them with confidence and knock them down. And again, I thought we did a good job of sharing and creating open ones. We just didn't make as many as we needed to.
Yeah, off Jason's question there, you guys early in that fourth quarter seemed to have a lot of success getting to the rim and started to chip down, and then you went back to shooting on the perimeter. Like Jason was asking, how fine is that line when you're getting to the rim and you're having that success versus, taking those open threes?
Yeah, I mean, if you're open, you got to shoot it. This is the NBA, right? These guys get paid, to make shots. So if they're open, they're going to shoot it. We trust them and believe in them. There were a couple that I think we would all like to have back, where we rushed a couple of them. I think this, when you get down to this team, it feels so heavy. But, like in any situation, you get down, you just got to chip away, right? You just make the simple play over and over again, and you'll give yourself a chance if you do that enough.
Darius came alive a little bit there in the fourth quarter. Get him going early alongside Donovan because Donovan's just been so good this year.
I mean, you got to be aggressive. We know how talented Darius is. We know how much he means to us, and when he's that spark for us, it's a boost to the guys. Not just the basketball sense, but in the spirit of the group as well. So we'll just keep pushing him. I know how bad he wants it, and he'll do the right thing for us. Continue to be aggressive, and he'll have a big one on Monday.
Joe,
I think Jarrett would help in any series against any team, anytime. How would he help you against the Celtics?
I mean, the size, and the rim protection. Obviously, when you lose him, you lose a significant piece of our size. And they're not, 7 feet across the board, but they've got two big guards. Their wings are 6'8", 6'9". And obviously they're bigs. Horford, 6'10", 6'11". So they have legitimate size. And if you have Jarrett there on the floor, you can switch your matchups defensively, do some creative things, but always have one of your 7-foot, elite rim protectors in the paint as well to protect. So it helps you there, but then it also helps you finish possessions, which we know they do a good job of creating extra ones.
Jeff, Jimmy, you might have mentioned this. I got in late. You guys did a really good job in winning the paint on 2 nights ago. What did they do tonight to take that away?
I mean, I thought we got there. We just didn't finish as well as we needed to. Again, so give them credit. They were challenging them. They were being physical with us on the finishes. But again, I thought our guys were assertive and aggressive. We just didn't finish like we needed to.
How do you think Wade played?
I thought he was really good in his minutes. Not playing basketball for 8 weeks, having the confidence to come in, and first shot was a catch and shoot three. He knocked down. I think that was a good sign for him. But I thought, again, he did a really good job being who he is, defensively guard multiple positions, and then helping us keep our offense moving.
Okay, go wrap, Coach.
Thank you.
So would you say for Jason to have the kind of night he did, going downhill, being aggressive, getting the kind of look he did at the rim, and just how did you see him produce those?
It just says he's a really great player that gets taken advantage of because he's been really good for a long time, underappreciated. And I thought he played a great game on both ends of the floor.
Especially with what we're shooting at right now, can he benefit from going downhill more often? Is that kind of an approach when the shots aren't falling for him that can produce more consistent scoring for him?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a product of that is our spacing and our execution, which I thought we had good spacing discipline, and I thought he did a good job just taking the right shot. It doesn't matter what the numbers are. He just needs to work to take the right shot, and he did a great job of that tonight.
After a fourth quarter, your execution in the fourth quarter, you found a way to kind of hold off. It seemed like when the Cavs were making their push, you guys found ways to just get to the rim. What did you see in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, just the spacing discipline is the biggest thing. Making sure we get the right matchup, making sure we got space. Even on the shots we missed, I thought that we got some really good looks on there. But most importantly, managing the offense kept them on a transition. I thought they went on that little bit of a run. It was either the end of the third or the beginning of the fourth. It was right at the beginning of the fourth quarter. It was 3 straight transition. Just from our spacing discipline. So I think part of that we were able to manage and kept them on a transition. And then I thought our half-court defense was great in the fourth quarter.
The players sounded upset that they didn't bring the proper playoff intensity to game 2. What was the messaging about getting that back and kind of hitting a bit harder?
Yeah, I mean, what they said. I mean, they were upset. They they had to play better. So, I mean, those guys, they're smart guys, been around a long time. And, they did a good job bouncing back.
What keyed the run to open the third quarter?
Getting stops and then getting out in transition was important.
How has JT been as the low man, just making smart rotations, being able to beat people above the rim defensively to just protect the rim for you guys?
I think he's been an impactful player on both ends of the floor. Switching, individual defense, had some, important rebounds. So I think everybody that played tonight played a highly disciplined, tough basketball, and that's what it takes. So no matter who's out there, we got to be disciplined. We have to be tough, and everybody that played did those things. I thought Jalen's rim reads were huge. I thought Jrue was great. Derek had a good third quarter. Peyton, Luke, Sam, everyone that played with discipline and toughness.
We talked earlier about Game 1 wasn't what the Cavs were. Game 2 was more of what they were, not really what you guys were.
Yeah.
Is this more like what you expected both teams to be like?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You talked a bunch this year, Joe, about how Jalen has been a little more under control across the board. Obviously, normally gets off to quick starts. I think Jalen took a couple shots in the first quarter, but by the end of the game, he's got a huge line, super efficient,
Yeah.
a lot of stuff. What did you think of the way he played?
Yeah, just his picking and choosing spots really well. Picks and chooses spots, picks and chooses matchup, picks and chooses shot selection, and plays with a sense of poise. I thought a couple of those kickouts that he had at the end of the third or the beginning of the fourth were big for us. And, one of the best things he's doing is even if he scores 2-3 times in a row, the next play is the right play. It's not it's not a play for him. It's a play to make the right one. And I think that's huge growth for those guys, is their ability to do that.
You talked about kind of physicality and toughness and all that. And Jrue in that first half, like a few of those plays, just kind of backing guys down, getting tough buckets from inside. What did you think of the tone that he set for the game, even at both ends?
Yeah, I mean, he's just both ends. I thought he played really well, really solid. When he's that impactful for us, we're a different team. And when we have our guys, all of our guys impactful, we're a different team. And, like I said, everyone's a leader, and he set the tone tonight with his physicality and his defense. And really, he had physical drives that got some points in the paint for us, too.
What did you see from you guys just defensively overall, where Mitchell made some tough shots there, but it seemed like you guys were able to contain the rest of the team?
Yeah, defensive poise, defensive discipline and tendencies, holding them to one shot, defending without fouling, and withstanding some of those. I mean, they're going to make some of those, and they have really highly talented guys, and they're going to make those, and you have to be able to withstand those with defensive poise and continue to. I thought one of the other things our guys did well was their communication. Was great defensively, changing matchups, changing coverages, played almost different coverages the entire second half, and guys handled it really well.
Final couple questions for Joe.
When Mitchell has it going, like he's just had it going all playoffs, right? So he shoots 7 of 12 from 3. How do you not overreact to what he's doing, knowing that winning when you limit everybody else, like it's easier to win when you limit everybody else?
Yeah, I mean, everything depends on how the game is going at that particular time. You take a look at the fourth quarter the other night where we weren't shooting the ball well, we weren't playing well. It's harder to do that. And when you give up those transitions and give up some of those easy baskets. Tonight we were managing the game really well, and I thought the shots that he hit were not necessarily game plan shots, but they were really tough shots. And so you have to have the defensive poise to be able to withstand some of that. But in the first half, they only had 48 points, and there was 10 points that we should take away with the things that we can control: communication, not switching, a couple of transition. And so if you take a look at the 48 first half points, you either have to stop him or you have to take away the 10 to 12 points that you can control. And I think that was the first thing, was take those away, and then we'll see how the game's going, and we'll be ready to get to a couple of different things. But throughout the game, we still threw some different stuff at them, but I thought our guys withstood that, and it's a credit to them.
Dirk White going into the second half. Do you stay on him, tell him to keep shooting?
I don't tell him anything. Just let him play basketball.
The second half, you guys seemed like you were sending two on the ball, or just like at the touch, just to keep them from getting penetration, but you would stay home on shooters, and sometimes even the roll man would just get to the rim. Was that on purpose? Did you just want to make sure you just took away any of their other guys?
Yeah, I mean, some of the coverages that we went to were situational because of time and score. Yeah.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Wow, Jason.
Do you think, I don't mean to make this sound like a loaded question, I don't want to lead you. Did you stick to the same game plan that you had for game 2?
We tried to. That was definitely the same game plan, and I feel like it's sometimes in the game we didn't get to what we wanted to get to. We slowed our offense down, or we got to it a little late in the shot clock and stuff like that. So we gotta watch the film and know what we're gonna get into and get into it a little quicker.
I mean, you feasted, as you know, at the end of game 1 through most of game 2. Was there more congestion you saw, or what were they taking away that you had in game 2?
Just a lot of switching. Last time they put different defenders on me, but I feel like they started switching their defense up a little bit, and I feel like that slowed us down. So we got to get into different things when they switch like that and create different advantages.
Evan, you had to come off the court for a little bit to treat something that happened in the quarter. How important is it for you, especially in this time of the playoffs, to be on the court for your team?
I feel like it's very important, especially as like one of the only bigs on the team right now that's really playing, and so I try to be out there as much as possible. Just took my ankle a little bit, so I had to come out, rest it, and get back moving and stuff. So got back out there and just try to give my all.
Did you, in the game 2, you guys won the rebounding battle. In the games that you lost in this series, you guys lost the rebounding battle. How important do you think that is, and your impact is on the boards, especially for the guy?
Yeah, that's a big emphasis. I feel like we just got a team rebound. Guards got to box out, I got to box out, and we just got to somehow come up with the balls and the 50-50 balls as well. So if we win that, it could be a different game.
Evan, how is your ankle feeling first off?
It's all right.
And to off Ethan's question in terms of the rebounding battle, they held you to single digits, and to kind of go off what Joe was saying too. Was it something different they were throwing at you just to kind of prevent you from crashing the glass, or just getting those second chance, or just limiting those second chance opportunities?
I feel like it was definitely an emphasis on their side to try to keep me off the glass and trying to go in there every single time. Sometimes you just don't come up with it. But yeah, they did a good job of just tracking me throughout the possession, and when the guards shot the layups, they would definitely find me and try to keep me off the glass.
What's the biggest difference between the way they were defending you in game 2 and today in game 3?
Just a lot of switching. Like I said, they just kept switching and keeping pretty big defenders on me throughout the game. When I had some switches, I tried to take advantage, but sometimes they'll just switch out from the opposite side and get another big defender on me. So.
How does that change how your mindset is in those situations?
We just got to find different advantages and take those advantages instead of trying to do the same thing over and over.
Offensively, for you, it seemed like you had another sort of night where you're just really aggressive, and early on they're really getting you involved. Just how much does that boost your confidence when you're sort of involved early in the game to kind of carry that throughout the rest of the game?
Boosted a lot. That's really my goal from the end of game one all the way to now. Just trying to be as aggressive as possible. I feel like that helps my team a lot, opens the floor for everybody else, and that's really my mindset throughout the rest of the series, is just trying to be aggressive, get to my spots, and shoot those shots.
With Dean on the floor, JB, I noticed, went to a couple lineups, third quarter, fourth quarter, and we're all about spacing. Just what did you think he brought? What additions, I guess, did he kind of bring to you guys from what you could do out on the floor from the lineup standpoint tonight?
Another bigger defender. I feel like that's big for us. He plays a really good defense, and then also just spacing the floor, like you said. He's a great pick and popper, and that stretches the defense and puts strain on them, and we can take advantage of that for sure.
Anything else, Melo? Last one.
We've seen you take defensive rebounds and get out into the break on your own, and sometimes you take it into the paint, and sometimes you're able to assist on different guys and get them open. How does getting out into the break and creating your own transition opportunities have helped your game?
I feel like that's big for us. Creates early opportunities for us, and 9 times out of 10 we get something good out of it. So I got to just keep rebounding and keep pushing it, and just get good plays for us.
Is that something that has grown in your confidence this season to bring the ball up the floor?
Yeah, for sure. That was definitely an emphasis throughout the whole season. Just keep bringing that to the game, and keep doing my thing, attacking when I see fit, or getting into action, and then that just creates a lot of pace for us as well. So I'm gonna just keep trying to do that as much as I can.
Okay. Thanks.
Jrue, what allowed you to just get going offensively in that first half?
I just thought about being aggressive. Donovan is going to be aggressive on one side of the ball, but to make him work on the other side because he's guarding me, and there's a lot of times where I might defer or do something. I just thought maybe attacking him might get him even more exhausted by the third or fourth quarter.
How did you kind of want to set that tone physicality?
I think from the jump, I tried to just kind of be aggressive with him defensively and not give me any space, even though he's going to score and he's going to do all that. But then on offense, for me, I think of just being aggressive and trying to get into the paint and make him work a little bit more. It's just going to help our team.
Did you see that pay off? Because it seemed like late in the fourth quarter, going back and forth, they weren't even going to him in some of those positions.
Yeah. I felt like he was a little gassed. It's hard what he's doing. What he's doing is elite. To be able to put up that many points and so efficiently. And we're making it tough on him. If it's not me, then it's D. White. If it's not D. White, it's JB. And then we got, Al protecting the paint and JT protecting the paint. So it's definitely a team effort, but I think to do it how he's doing it is hard.
Who do you feel like they gave you the most trouble attacking your defense in game 2? And how do you feel like you guys improved on that?
I think it was our communication, just being able to get into the ball more. When they're trying to slip out screens and cause confusion, I think we connected really well on that, and our communication was a lot better this game.
How much do you kind of take ownership of improving that communication, and what's that like on the ball?
I mean, I think for me, I trust my teammates, especially guarding the ball, having to listen to the calls behind me and just trusting what they say. So honoring the call, and then from there, trying to do team defense as best as possible.
Jrue, could you talk about the impact that Al has had stepping in for KP? His shooting numbers haven't been great, but you guys have really needed him to chew up some of those minutes.
We put a lot on Al. Like you said, just protecting the paint, anchoring us on the defensive end, and then knowing that he's going to get some shots, and because they kind of leave him open, especially with Mobley kind of dropping into the paint. But Al's Al. He's one of the most reliable players that I've ever played with, and you know that he's always going to come through for you. So we put a lot on Al, but he's built for it.
Jrue, what did you like coming out of halftime? 14 straight there.
I think JB just told us it wasn't over. We've been here before this year where we're up 20 in the fourth quarter and they came back and won. So I think we know what kind of firepower they have, what type of team they are, and really great scores. But we felt like coming in and trying to punch them in the mouth right off the gate, right out the bat was best for us.
What have you seen from him, like going back to the end of last game? He was pretty vocal with us, at least, talking about what went wrong.
Who, JB?
Yeah, what needed to change. What have you seen from these past couple of days and kind of his leadership role?
Just being a leader. You know what I mean? Expressing his feelings and just kind of pouring out his knowledge on the game, telling us to be aggressive, telling me to be aggressive. If you get tired, then I'll switch on to Donovan, and just being a leader in that way. Talking to us defensively where, especially down the stretch, no threes, rebound the ball, he's sitting there yelling at us. So just being the leader that he is.
What did you see from Jason tonight, and how important is that?
Yeah, I mean,
Like him.
JT is always going to be JT on the offensive end, but I think defensively he did a great job. Got some key stops, some nice blocks, some big rebounds, and I know that we trust him so much on the offensive end, but defensively is really where I'm just so impressed by him because I don't think he gets enough credit on the defensive end.
Jrue, on that defense, I know Mobley didn't score in the third quarter. You hold him to 20 and 21 in the second and third quarter. After the first quarter, what did you guys kind of find defensively, in a rhythm to really keep it up?
One, I just think rebounding, trying to win the margins, being able to rebound offensively, and then defensive rebounds, trying to get out and pushing in transition. I know a lot of times where Mobley's in there, rebounding, being aggressive is an advantage for them. But when we game rebound, there's a couple times where either I had to come back or JT or JB came back when Al was trying to push him under or DY's trying to push him under. That's big for us because then we can get out in transition.
Last question. JT hasn't been shooting the ball well the entire playoffs, but we saw tonight he just started kind of getting out in space and going downhill. How are you seeing, like, compared to other great players you've played with that were physical and aggressive? Like, how are you seeing him getting around and not having his touch and just finding ways to be aggressive again?
I mean, he's a great player and he adapts to the game. If the shot's not falling, he knows he's good enough to get to the basket, get to the free throw line. And if not, then he gets into the paint. Because of the good player that he is, he draws 2 or 3 people and he makes the right play. And you saw him do that quite a few times tonight, which just makes us better. I know in the third quarter, I think I got a wide open 3 because of it. So I think just him being able to be aggressive is best for us.
Thank you, Jrue.
Thank you.
Donovan, how do you account for the slow start in the third quarter, and how big was that?
It changed the game. Give them credit. They came out with a sense of urgency, and that's what's tough. It's tough to come back from that, but they came out with an intention on both ends of the floor, and really on the offensive end. But when they get going, that's who they are. They hit threes and 3 after 3 after 3, and then you overhelp. Now you're getting layups, and now you're helping on the layups. That's where they get the 3. So. That really changed the complexity of the whole game, and it's hard to fight an uphill battle. And we fought and we clawed back, but that start of the third quarter that's what did it.
Does this one bother you more than some of the other playoff losses?
Yeah, I think because a lot of it was self-induced. I think a lot of things we did wrong, and you give them credit. They played the way they have been, but I think we did a bunch of things. There were a bunch of things that we could have done better. Obviously, we got up 36 threes. Offensively, we could obviously shoot a little better, but defensively, we held them to 106. But it just felt crazier than it felt crazy in the moment because of those spurts, and that's what I was talking about last game. Those little details, those little runs can change the entirety of the game. Because at the end of the day, we held them to 106, and that's not a bad defensive game against a team like that. But it's the key moments of when they get those points, the runs they get, and then not being able to score back on the other end. It just compounds and compounds. So I think that's what's the frustrating part of it. But it happens, and we gotta figure it out and get ready for Monday.
This isn't really you. Your numbers were incredible tonight, but do you have the same discipline on offense that you showed in game 2, team-wide?
I think there were some times where we tried to hit the home run. I think myself included, the first one I think of is the step back three, that air bank, like just because I'm feeling good, don't need to take that shot. But at the end of the day, I'm not mad at the aggression. I'd rather it be an aggressive mistake than a passive one. So now it's just get ready and figure it out for Monday. So I wouldn't say I'm disappointed or upset, because at the end of the day, like I said, it's aggression. And I'd rather it be an aggressive, mistake than a passive one, if that makes sense.
Chris. Hey, Donovan. Third quarter tonight, it's not just a one-off thing. Like, it's happened throughout the course of the regular season. I'm saying it's every third quarter. It's happened a lot. Do you have a theory on, why that continues to be a problem for you guys?
I don't, because there also been third quarters where we've done it. I think it's just, I think that's what kind of going to Joe's point is disappointing, because, we've shown the capability to come out and start the quarter off strong. And, at the end of the day, we didn't do that tonight, and we paid for it. We've played teams that, we played the Magic, who aren't really a three-point shooting team. So you can kind of get away with helping or, different letting drives, because now if they help, it's not as they're not as good of shooters as these guys. So now when you have these moments, I think he compounds and compounds, and then it feels like the weight of the world is, especially when you're at home. And they really did their job. They took the crowd out, and but at the end of the day, it's how do we respond back? And we didn't respond back, because we're going to make mistakes. We're going to have those moments, but how do we respond? And I think everybody's going to point to the third quarter, but I'm going to point to the beginning of the game. I think 9 of their first 17 shots were three-pointers, and I think those were all just mental errors, So now they see the ball go and they see attempts and they miss one. It's like, okay, they can adjust. And then you get to the third quarter, they're making them, you know what I mean? So I think that's kind of where I'm at. It's the beginning of the game. We were right there, but they got looks that they didn't get, that we didn't allow them to get in game 2.
What did Dean give you in his first game in about 2 months?
It was great to have him back, man. He was in better shape than I thought, you know what I mean, to be honest, and that's a salute to him for that. He's put the time and put the work in, but being able to play that 5 out with him at the 5, and for him to really step in and, like I said, not really be with us, and then to kind of figure it out on the fly, I think that was huge. And, we'll get some more work in, obviously, tomorrow and get ready for Monday, but it was great to have him out there.
Don, you mentioned that the defensive side, you own 106. Yeah, you guys still come up short. Is that a little demoralizing, knowing that what you were able to hold them to at all, and not?
I wouldn't call it demoralizing, just because I can't afford for it to be demoralizing. We don't have time for that. I think at the end of the day, we could do a better job defensively, and that's with them holding them to 106, but at the end of the day, we didn't score. We didn't score when we needed to respond back, and, we'll be better, you know what I mean? And it's not going to be easy. This is seriously not going to be easy. It's going to continue to fight and claw like we have been, and, this happened, and my biggest thing has always been all years is how do we respond? At the end of the day, we have things we can clean up, and how do we respond on Monday? That's my biggest thing.
Yeah. You mentioned that a couple times about responding, and I know that's what your team has been all year. What do you want to see in the response?
I think, like I said at the beginning of the game, allowing them to get those looks, even though they may have missed them, I think that they weren't getting those looks in game 2. At least they were contested, you know what I mean? And we did a good job of those throughout the game, and then obviously we had our lapses in the third or whatever, but a level of consistency and a level of discipline as a whole, I think we did that in game 2, and we showed what we can do, especially on the road. That's tough, you know what I mean, to do that on the road. So now, we didn't really have those. We had them in spurts, but not the same throughout the entire game. So now, looking at the film, we got to find a way to be able to do that. On Monday.
And offensively, besides missing some shots, I'm sure you think you guys will make.
Mm-hmm.
Do anything to take you guys out of stuff you want to do, or are there specific things you're looking for to do better?
I just think we didn't hit the same amount of shots we did. At the end of the day, they guarded, like I said, they've helped on me a little more, that way guys are open to different things. And, for us, just being able to finish, we missed a lot of shots at the rim, myself included, missed a lot of shots that, I think we just got to make, And also we didn't really shoot that great from three, but not a bad percentage. But that we didn't shoot that well. So I think those are different things, and we got to get our looks and take them. Because if we don't, we're driving them back into the crowd, and they want us to. So being able to take our shots when they're open.
Chris, Donovan, you mentioned 5 out. There was another small ball lineup that you used as well. What did you like about those particular lineups for you guys, and how sustainable do you think they are throughout this series?
It was just off immediate. Like, obviously, I got to watch it a little bit more. But, I think, obviously, like you said, it brings a level of spacing to the floor, driving lanes, things like that. So, definitely something to look at, something to continue to improve on. But also being able to, when we do that, teaching Dean, all right, these are the plays first and foremost. You know what I mean? Like, just being able to learn that. Isaac's done a great job getting into those spaces. Now it's like, all right, the first action's not there. It's the second action, the third action. It's just continuing to get to actions. And, I think that's just something we really haven't done it all year, but now that we're doing it, it's a credit to Isaac and Dean for being able to learn this throughout the fly. And it hasn't looked, it hasn't looked bad. It's been looking pretty solid. So for us, just continuing to improve on it game by game.
Last game you came out and you talked about game, you were very intentional about getting your teammates involved. Tonight it seemed like you were intentional about getting yourself going. Why the difference?
Just feeling the game. You know what I mean? I kind of just picking my spots, and there were spots where I felt like I was able to hit shots, and at the end of the day, it's a balance. You know what I mean? It's not going to be perfect, but they got going. They started scoring, so I was like, okay, trying to be a little more aggressive. Then I started feeling a little hot in the second quarter, so not going to stop. You know what I mean? And so I think that was the biggest thing. And then the third, trying to do it. So just trying to pick my spots, and it's no real formula. It's just kind of what the game calls for at the time, and I think that's kind of just been my approach. So that was it.
You mentioned balance. How do you balance attacking the matchups they give you versus trying to empower your teammates?
I think the biggest thing is kind of feeling, all right, they scored a couple. This could be a run. Let me try to get a response right here. Okay, let me get Ev right here. All right, let me see where Isaac's in the corner. Let me run this play. And sometimes it's just running a play just to see how they guard it, just to save it for later. Sometimes it's running a play just to get a guy a shot. So, there's a play that I remember, it looked crazy, but, the play was for me to get a pick and roll. They ended up trapping me at half court, and I threw it to Isaac on the wing. Ultimately, that wasn't the play, but it was part of what I was trying to do, is get somebody a shot right there. So it's just different things, and also taking what they give you. They gave me the three, and I took it.
You covered quite a bit about why tonight might be disappointing. What did Game 2 do for your outlook on the series and what is possible?
At the end of the day, Game 2 just showed who we are. You know what I mean? And that's something we've just built on. And I think tonight we didn't make the same shots we did in Game 2, but we also didn't, discourage their threes, run them off the line. Our rotations were a little bit slower today. Offense rebounds were a little, the timely ones, you know what I mean? And I think those are the things that we didn't allow in Game 2. So it's okay, we have Game 2 as a baseline of what is the formula, you know what I mean? And you're not always going to, make shots, but how do we do it defensively consistently and deter that? Because like I said, even though they didn't necessarily make all those threes in the first quarter, in the first half, that we allowed them to get them up. They see them. They can see it. And as a shooter, that's all you need, whether you make it or miss it. So for us, just looking at Game 2 and then comparing it to Game 3 and just trying to adjust a little bit. But also, we scored 93 points today, so it's just obviously different than Game 2.
Thank you.
Thank you.